Welcome to a video tutorial from Valentia Photography Workshops and me, Stephen Power. This one is about the main components and settings of the Horseman 970 technical camera. This will also be helpful for those of you using other Horseman models and even technical cameras such as the Linhof Technika 3. The Horseman folds up for use when carrying, and to release the lens you push down the clip at the front, drop down the bed to the first flat position, and then bring the two black levers towards each other and pull out the lens. There are a series of infinity focusing tabs along the bed of the camera inside the rails. These need to be lifted in pairs according to the lens that you have fitted. The lens then needs to be pulled out from the camera only as far as the correct color-coded pair of infinity tabs in order that it will focus correctly at infinity. There is also a piece of metal known as a cam which needs to be inserted in the bed of the camera. Again, this needs to match with the tabs and also with the color coding on the shutter setting lever. The 105mm lens I'm using has an orange code, and so the cam and the tabs all have to be orange. The lenses and shutters for this camera and other field and technical cameras and large format cameras are fitted onto a lens board, which is then inserted into the front standard of the camera. You can see here I'm fitting it with a large hinge on the front of this camera. The shutter is set by pulling back the large round knob at the top and then released with the catch on the front left hand side. I've got the camera set to timer, so it will take about 8 seconds before the shutter fires. Here I'm setting the shutter and then pulling out the focusing lever, which allows the image to be viewed on the viewing screen at the back of the camera, but you must close it again before taking a photograph, or if you have film in the camera. On this lens, the shutter speeds are set by moving the milled metal ring around the edge of the lens. The apertures are moved with the slider on the right hand side, and the green V, X and M settings at the bottom of the lens allow you to shoot with a timer, with flash, or manually in that order. There are 2 different ways of viewing the scene and 3 different ways of focusing with this camera. If you want to use some of the camera movements, it's best to use the viewing screen. You can lift up the hood and then view the screen, or swing it out on its hinge so that you can view directly onto the screen. This is often best done with a loupe or a magnifier. When you want to fit a film back to the camera, you need to close up the hood and remove the viewing screen. The large metal springs here are part of what's called a graph lock back, and it can be a little bit stiff and might need some lubrication if the camera's old. The film back is then inserted and locked in with 2 sliding locks at the top and bottom. You can see that I've marked mine dark slide, and you can see the dark slide on the right hand side. This is used to protect the film from exposure, but it has to be removed when you're taking a picture, and I've forgotten to do so quite a few times, and with only 8 shots per roll, it's an expensive mistake. The circular window in the center at the top is the viewfinder, and when you look through it you'll see grids marked on it for the size of the lens that you're using, and you should keep the frame of the image within those grids depending on the lens that you've got set on the front of the camera. It's not possible to focus when looking through the viewfinder, and you have to do this by looking through the rangefinder window to the right hand side. You'll get a split image of the scene or part of it, and you have to bring those two images together by using the focusing wheel, which is on both sides at the front of the camera bed. If you want to go really old school, you can guess the distance between the camera and the subject and dial this in with the focusing wheel using the distance scale on the top right hand side of the camera. In the next video in this series, I'm going to look at some of the more advanced features such as the tilt, shift, rise and fall movements of this camera. Although they are quite limited, they can still be extremely useful. Please stay in touch by subscribing to my channel, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.